in our way to stop us, but to give us strength and courage in life. Welcome to Beyond the Limit. I am MUTHONI MAINA.
Finances or enough finances to be able to take care of feeding themselves, taking care of to this group the information, we help them apply, then they are given these funds so that they can take care.
So it's an annual process. Is it an annual process or is it monthly?
It's an annual process, but sometimes different opportunities come at different time. Yeah.
And is there a range of how many people that you need per year, or it doesn't matter, the number doesn't matter?
The number doesn't matter as long as the opportunity is still there. Yeah, we always work with the opportunities that are present because we haven't yet gotten a continuous donor who can be able we can be able to rely on so that we can meet the needs. Yes.
So maybe Dennis.
So my name is Dennis NGURE. I'm a disability and inclusion facilitator, and I'm also a member of KDDN, that stands for Kikuyu District Disability Network, and I'm the secretary. And I'm also the secretary for Kiambu County Disability Network, which is a network that organizes persons with disability across the county. Yeah.
So are your roles the same, or?
My roles are very different. He's my chairman, so I'm just his secretary. So I do mostly coordination activities, making sure that our communication gets out there, identifying these opportunities also, and communicating to these people. And we do a lot of coordination, especially from the grassroots level. That is by reaching out to know disability leaders, and if there are no organized groups, we also organize that they can come together at a certain point and at least have their issues coordinated from one point, because it's very difficult to coordinate individual needs at different points. And considering we are working mostly in Kiambu West, so that's a very vast area, to coordinate all that. And seeking also information like from the duty bearers, from the MP's office, from the women, from the county government, maybe from the women representative. So coordinating all this information and seeking the information, gathering the information, and how to know to disperse it. That is our strength currently, and we've been able and successful to coordinate that. Currently we have those leaders from the six sub-counties in Kiambu, that we work with them very well, and we participate in very many programs. We can have like education programs, we can have socio-economic empowerment programs, and also civic education programs with them. So we try to have a person with disability holistically empowered. And that's our vision, to have a person with disability holistically empowered and recognized as a productive citizen. Yeah.
So how do you find, do they come to you, or do you have to go out there to find them?
What we do when we have mapped out our contacts. Let's say in Limuru, we have leaders, disability leaders in Limuru. So we reach out to them, and then they can tell us the needs. At times they can tell us there's no that structure of advocacy. So what we do, we'll go to Limuru and identify the strengths. So once you are on the ground, there are a lot of dynamics that you can notice. For example, you can notice mothers who have children with disabilities, they are lacking like medicine. So that puts you at a point where you can offer a solution, not necessarily by giving medicine, but coordinating now how they can be able to get medicine. Once you coordinate that, you tell them now, by the way, you can be in a group, you can be meeting frequently, you can get assistance by doing ABCD. Yeah, so that's what we do.
And when they get here, when they need to enroll themselves, they do not pay for a certain fee. They are enrolled for free, or? Okay,
so there are various cadres of registration. So for us, we are registered as a community-based organization, meaning we can have a vast reach, let's say the whole county. So there are also what we call self-help groups. So self-help groups is, most of our groups are registered as that. And you have to meet the government's requirements for registration. That is, there are some guidelines that they offer, and you have to register. So registering a self-help group, it's 1,000 shillings, but you have again to open an account. So it comes to around 3,000 shillings to do all that. Yeah, so it's different cadres of registration. but we encourage our members at least to register at the lowest, then they can grow from there.
So there is inadequate provision of medication to persons who are differently abled, and this makes it hard for them to recuperate. So what are the missing links?
Thank you. Well, I would say that we have some missing links in terms of attending persons with disabilities and providing to their needs. And this could be maybe associated with the records that we have. Statistics is what informs any policy, it's what informs any actions that is undertaken by any organization, and even in this case by the government. And you find that basically records have not been well put. If you visit many counties, you might be surprised that they may not be having records on how many people they have with disabilities and the types of disabilities that they are undergoing. And if records are well put, it will be possible now to bring on board medical practitioners, government policy makers, and even other disability organizations, so that they may be able to do an analysis on the needs of these persons with disability. What is this that they require? And in this case, they'll be able to plan for them when it comes to provision of medical services. So you'll find within our government or within our society, persons with disability are not really known. And the numbers are not really well known, and therefore there is retro planning for them. But if records are well kept, I am very sure you'd find somehow in one way or the other, then if proper planning is done, then these people's needs can be met, even the medical needs and services that they require.
So how did your condition come about?
Oh yeah, so I was diagnosed with what they called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. It's rheumatism. As you understand, the rheumatism, the condition gets older people where their joints are wearing out. But for my condition, I got it when I was small, around 2-3 years. And it was quite new, especially in Kenya. So it took a lot of time before they realized it is juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, because we didn't have professionals to notice that. And it took a lot of big doctors in Kenya then, who are also scholars, to understand the condition. Yeah.
So does that mean that back then the society did not have the ability to recognize your condition?
Yes, by a great extent. They couldn't understand what was happening to me. Yeah, because you just wake up one morning, all your joints are paining, and you can't move, you can't walk, you can't even cry because the pain is past the bar. Yes, it was too much. Yeah, so it was also a shocker to the parent, because also they don't know what to do. They have never met such a condition.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Well, some did, since polio was there even before I was born. But it's always different in another community, with another community. So like ours, I was able to be of, I got assistance a lot from my parents. The community is, there are some who laugh at you, some, joke at your condition. But at long last, you just be able to fight on and just prove yourself that you are able in one way or the other.
So does the society allow you to participate in decision making? Yes,
definitely. Sometimes some of these things you have to bring yourself to the front. You can't sit at the back and wait for somebody to keep pushing you all the time. No. So for me, and maybe for Dennis, or for our organization, what we've done is we've always come at the front, trying to push people even to lead. Like we've been able to make sure that we have even representative in different CDF, the CDF committees, the ones that are run by the MP. So we've made sure that we have representative in those offices, and not just those offices. Like right now, we have so many disability people who are in the different boards of management of different schools. That's what we've been able to push for from the time that we started this organization.
And for you to get that contact, was it hard? Or
yes.
How was it?
It's very hard. It's very hard. Actually, to go back to your question, does the society allow us to participate? To a great extent, it doesn't. It doesn't. There are very many barriers to us participating. We are privileged enough or lucky to have now gone through school, finished our schooling, and understood how things work, or a lot of things work. So we can go for these opportunities. We can make the duty bearers listen to us. So that is, at least we've been privileged to have that. But generally, it is very difficult. Before you get that person and sit with them and tell them your perspective, it takes a lot of time and energy and a lot of convincing.
Yes, you're always silenced.
Yeah.
So there was backlash.
Oh yes.
Oh yes. Even now.
You're always silenced in one or the other. Somebody cannot pick your calls. Sometimes you have to go to the office now and say, I'm not coming out. You have to listen to me.
You have to listen to me. Yeah, because there are all these myths and perceptions on disability. Like when you see someone who's disabled, you think they think less. You might think they can't think at the same quality. You might think they can't perform as good as anyone else. So there are all those misconceptions. So when you're finding these duty bearers, they look at you from that perspective. It's until you start to speak, until you start to present yourself, now they start. So
you had to be vocal for them to hear you guys out. And you had to push.
You have to take the mic sometimes.
Yeah. You have to push. You have to be forceful at times.
Very.
Yeah. You have to go all out for them to realize, hey, there's this group of people that you're not listening to. Yeah.
When they're trying to push for their rights in governmental offices, the doors are often, they're shut off and they're told to, just keep away. And they have to use force, they have to be aggressive for their voice to be heard. So what is the solution to this problem?
Great. What I've just said, that we are lacking statistics. We are lacking proper records. And that makes these people not be well attended to. You find they have to really be pushy, and actually you'd see that it's really unfortunate because these people are also human beings like any other, and they ought to be given equal opportunities like other people, but unfortunately many people have not understood the needs of these people in a way that they can attend them without being told to forcefully attend them.
When it comes to the rights for persons living with disabilities, have you tried pushing for it, and for how long has it taken you to get to where you are?
It's a long process. It's a long journey. If I can tell you, we have the National the Disability Act, which was passed in 2003. Yeah. Okay. So that act hasn't been amended ever since 2003.
So it's still there. It's still
yes. Yeah. So you can imagine how long it has taken. We've been trying to amend it since 2016. It hasn't happened right now.
What's the feedback that you get?
The feedback is, like I'm saying, there is a lot of structural barriers that come into the process. And again, I've spoken about a lot of people don't understand how governance works. So if they read a bill, it takes another 6 months for that bill to go to the second reading. Okay? So that bill can just be read twice in a year. And then there are all these forms of quorums. At times they don't have quorums, okay? So if it misses that reading, you know, that's another 2.5 years, another 1.5 years. So those are the challenges that we are battling with, because there is no concerted effort to have a law that speaks to persons with disability needs. Yes.
So when it comes to maintaining a relationship or initiating one, are there any hardships involved?
Yes, a lot of hardships. Because if you notice what we are doing now, it's what we call advocacy. It's one of our main strengths, to have advocacy, to do advocacy. This is by identifying issues that speak to persons with disabilities and voicing them to relevant authorities. So let's say I need to identify there is a need, okay? Like here where we are in Kikuyu, we have a need. We want our persons with disabilities empowered. They need economic activities to be doing. Their small businesses be funded. Now, I have come to the ground. I have mapped my people. After mapping my people, I need to present these needs to either the county government or the donors or anyone else, yeah? So that process can take you months to do that. And no one is funding you. When you get out of here and you need transport, okay? You need to eat, you know, you need to be reaching these people, so you're constantly calling. Yeah, so when you have a family or a job, it's difficult. It's difficult. And even if you don't have that, you're just doing advocacy, it's also difficult, because you need resources to attract other resources. So resources is one of the major hurdles. Yeah, but another hurdle also is now getting to be listened to. Having a seat, yes, at the table. So we are battling with a lot of these myths and misconceptions of persons with disability. We have a couple of barriers. One of the barriers is the attitudinal barrier, like we've just spoken about. Yeah, where just with the attitude they think now, because you're a person with disability, you think slow, you can't think fast.
Because that's what they get when they get to see you first.
Yes.
That's what most think. It's an attitude.
Yeah, it's an attitude that most of us have, because it's a society issue. It's not something that you're inborn.
People tend to think that persons with disabilities are slow thinkers. Is there any proof that backs this notion?
This is community generalization and attitude. Slow thinking for persons with a disability may only happen, for example, if one is born with a mental challenge and maybe conditions such as ADHD and other serious mental conditions that may make the process of information maybe slow. But this doesn't mean that this person is a slow thinker. And research actually has shown that people like Frida from Mexico, she was born with a spinal bifida, she had polio, she had an accident, a bus accident at 18 years, but she's celebrated as a famous artist. So this can tell you that some mental challenges cannot interfere with the thinking capacity of a person.
So apart from religion, does this happen maybe in other festivities? Like you have to meet with family, friends, and then they're like, hey, Sasa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So that is religion. Now culture also is another thing. Yeah. Some families can say in our lineage we don't have any person with disabilities. Okay. So what does that do? It breaks families. So you might get a lot of families have broken up because they got a child with disability. Okay. And that is something that culturally needs to be spoken about so that we can have at least a common ground. So when such a family happens to be like that, will I be comfortable going there during Christmas or Easter? No. Okay. Yeah, so I'll be out of the family. I'll be ostracized from the family. Yeah. But we are not saying that this it has that is the negative side, but now the positive side also, you can have now a family that is accepting.
When it comes to men who are differently abled, the in-laws set the bar way too high for them. So what comes to play when, you know, there are all these emotions and cordial relationships that are yet to be set among the in-laws?
Wow. Now, when the bar is set too high in marriage relationships, it is a cultural and a religious thing. For example, payment of dowry. You know, there is no question. Somehow it is supposed to be done. And other things that happen during marriage, the traditions, which bring color and celebrations. However, if the bar is being told to pay more or to do more than a normal person, that is exploitation. And it should not happen at all. And also, it depends with the different family members. There are some families who will just tell the disabled, the person with disability, we are working with you, we will support you in your marriage, raising the children, we are part of you. And they will actually embrace them. And that is the spirit that we would encourage to happen in our communities. When they feel exploited, definitely they are human beings. They have their needs. They have their emotions. They need to belong to a family, to have a wife, to raise a family, you know, and to feel they belong. That one shouldn't be embraced at all.
Well, that was quite an informative discussion that we had there with Dennis and Joseph.